Imagine a world where the West truly understood the power of the Filipino people. Imagine if billionaires had never underestimated their intelligence, skill, and resilience. One man saw it coming, Elon Musk. While others laughed, ignored, or dismissed the Philippines, Musk made a bold move. He saw what no one else did. And now, it's too late for them. But how did this happen? How did the Philippines go from being overlooked to becoming one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia? How did Musk's early vision give him an unfair advantage over Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and other billionaires? And why did the West refuse to listen? Elon Musk has always been known as a visionary. He believed in electric cars when Tesla was a joke. He dreamed of reusable rockets when NASA was cutting budgets. But back in the early 2000s and 10s, before anyone noticed, he saw something in the Filipino people that others ignored. Now, as the Philippines rises, those who doubted it are watching in shock. Did Musk predict the future? Or did the West make a massive mistake? While the world's tech giants focused on Silicon Valley and China, Elon Musk quietly turned his attention to the Philippines. But why? Was it just about cutting costs or tapping into an outsourcing market? Musk saw something much bigger. Filipinos were not just workers, they were problem solvers, engineers, and innovators. They had the skill, adaptability, and determination that could power his biggest dreams. At a time when Tesla was still fighting doubt and SpaceX was seen as a billionaire's fantasy, Musk was already making strategic moves. He looked past the call centers and customer service jobs the world associated with the Philippines. Instead, he saw a hidden gold mine of talented engineers, software developers, and technical specialists. SpaceX needed top-tier engineers to build and refine its rocket systems. Tesla demanded precision in battery and AI development. Musk realized that Filipino experts had both. And so, while others ignored the Philippines, he started hiring. Musk's vision wasn't just about business, it was about building the future. He quietly brought in Filipino engineers for AI, robotics, and automation projects. He knew that some of the world's best microelectronics engineers were sitting in Philippine universities, just waiting for the right opportunity. While Mark Zuckerberg was busy tweaking Facebook algorithms, Musk was launching satellites. In 2022, he made the Philippines one of the first Southeast Asian nations to access Starlink. But this was not just about fast internet. It was about unlocking opportunities the world never saw coming. For years, Filipino freelancers, remote engineers, and tech specialists faced one major roadblock: slow and unreliable internet. Lagging connections, constant downtimes, and telecom monopolies made it nearly impossible for the country's best minds to compete globally. But then, everything changed overnight. When Starlink arrived, it was like flipping a switch. Suddenly, Filipino programmers could work on high-speed projects with US and European teams without frustration. Data scientists in Manila could develop AI models without annoying internet dropouts. Startups in Cebu could confidently pitch investors without worrying about glitchy video calls. While Western media continued to see the Philippines as just another outsourcing hub, Musk saw something far greater. His quiet investments weren't just about making money, they were about building the future. The country had a growing tech-savvy workforce, a strong entrepreneurial mindset, and an unstoppable hunger for innovation. Musk wasn't betting on cheap labor, he was betting on Filipino talent. For years, Western billionaires, investors, and policymakers used IQ tests and biased rankings to decide which countries had the best minds. These rankings always placed the Philippines below China, Japan, and South Korea, fueling the false belief that Filipinos were less intelligent. But here's the shocking truth. Intelligence is more than a number. IQ tests can't measure resilience. They don't account for creativity, determination, and the ability to thrive despite challenges. Musk saw what others ignored, and now it's too late for them to catch up. IQ tests don't measure creativity. They don't show a person's ability to think outside the box when resources are limited. And they certainly don't measure adaptability, the power to learn fast, solve problems, and create new innovations at an incredible speed. But these are exactly the strengths that define the Filipino workforce. While Western investors blindly followed outdated rankings, they overlooked the truth. They assumed that because Filipino IQ scores were lower than China or Japan, it meant Filipinos were less capable. They were dead wrong. Behind the scenes, Filipino engineers were quietly building the AI and software that power the world's biggest tech companies. Filipino scientists were pushing the boundaries of medical research. Filipino cybersecurity experts were protecting the largest banks and financial institutions. But nobody noticed. Musk doesn't care about meaningless rankings or fancy degrees. He looks at results, and the results were undeniable. Filipino programmers became some of the best problem solvers in Silicon Valley. Filipino aerospace engineers were designing key components for SpaceX rockets. Filipino medical professionals were leading in robotic surgery and telemedicine advancements, despite coming from a country the world underestimated. While Western companies saw the Philippines as just a place for cheap call center workers, Musk saw something far bigger. He saw a gold mine of brilliant minds, innovators, and future leaders. The West ignored the warning. Now, it's too late for them to catch up. For years, people thought the Philippines was full of low IQ workers. Investors ignored Filipino talent, believing the myth that they weren't as smart as other nations. Now, they regret it. Today, global research institutions are rushing to collaborate with Filipino scientists. The same investors who overlooked the Philippines are scrambling to hire its workers. The same countries that ignored Filipino potential are now studying their education system, shocked at how these underestimated minds are suddenly outperforming the rest of the world. And the myth is broken, and those who believed it are paying the price. But here's the most shocking part. The Philippines was never supposed to be underestimated. In the early 1900s, it was one of Asia's most promising economies. American, Spanish, and Japanese investors poured money into its industries, agriculture, and manufacturing. Manila was called the Pearl of the Orient, a booming center of trade and business. The country had natural resources, a perfect location, and an English-speaking workforce. It was a top destination for foreign investors. But after gaining independence in 1946, political instability and government mismanagement slowed progress. By the 1960s, the Philippines was still one of the most developed nations in Southeast Asia, but warning signs were everywhere. Corruption, too much bureaucracy, and unstable policies scared investors away. The country that once led the region was now falling behind. But now, Filipino talent is rising again, and the world is finally waking up. While South Korea and Taiwan push their economies forward with smart industrial strategies, the Philippines struggled. The real turning point came in the 1970s and 1980s. At first, industries like mining and manufacturing still attracted foreign money. But soon, economic crises and political chaos shook investor confidence. The Marcos era promised growth with huge infrastructure projects, but the plan relied too much on foreign debt and corrupt deals. As a result, the country fell into long-term economic instability. By the time the People Power Revolution ended the dictatorship in 1986, the Philippines was drowning in debt and its industries were collapsing. Meanwhile, Singapore, once behind the Philippines, became an economic giant. Under Lee Kuan Yew's leadership, Singapore focused on business-friendly policies, attracting multinational companies and strong governance. The difference was shocking. While Singapore moved forward, the Philippines was stuck in red tape, corruption, and unstable rules. But things are changing. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the Philippines fought to rebuild. New governments introduced reforms to bring back investors, focusing on outsourcing, real estate, and clean energy. Now, the world is paying attention again. The 2010s brought a wave of economic growth. Foreign investors poured money into the country, and credit ratings improved. But big problems still stood in the way. Poor infrastructure, corruption, and outdated policies slowed down progress. The Philippines had potential, but it wasn't reaching its full power. That's when Elon Musk saw something others didn't. He noticed a shift. Young, forward-thinking leaders were pushing for transparency, digital innovation, and economic reforms. The country was making a comeback, and Musk wasn't about to miss out. With tech industries booming, clean energy projects rising, and major upgrades in infrastructure, the Philippines was becoming a top spot for investment. Musk, always ahead of the curve, made his move before other billionaires even realized the opportunity. The question remained, would the Philippines finally break free from its cycle of setbacks? Or would history repeat itself? Now, let's look ahead. The future is shocking. Experts predict that by 2030, the Philippines will be one of Asia's biggest economies, competing with Japan, South Korea, and India. With a young, skilled workforce, a thriving tech industry, and Musk-backed innovations, the country is moving at lightning speed. Manila and Cebu are now global tech hubs. The Philippines is no longer just an outsourcing center, it's a leader in AI, robotics, and even space exploration. Filipino engineers aren't just working for Tesla, they're building the future. Filipino engineers and scientists are no longer just following global trends, they're leading them. They are designing the next generation of self-driving technology and creating powerful AI systems that are changing industries all over the world. But the real shock? The Philippines is now a major player in space exploration. Filipino experts are working side by side with SpaceX to develop new space stations and even help with Mars colonization. The country is no longer just watching from the sidelines. It's building satellites, leading space research, and developing high-tech innovations for the trillion-dollar space industry. By 2030, the Philippines will no longer rely on overseas remittances. Instead, it will be a global hub for advanced technology and high-tech manufacturing. Across Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, new factories are producing semiconductors, AI-powered automation systems, and electric vehicle components. The country is even exploring quantum computing and biomedical technology. Philippine-made tech is now essential worldwide. From Europe to North America, companies rely on Filipino innovations. Billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg, who once ignored the country, are now scrambling to invest. Even tech giants like Apple, Meta, and Amazon are rushing to catch up. For years, the world ignored the Philippines. Investors saw it as just another developing country, missing the incredible talent and potential hidden in plain sight. But now, they're scrambling to catch up. Western corporations once ruling the tech and finance world are now struggling to gain a foothold. They had their chance to invest, to collaborate, to build, but they looked the other way. Meanwhile, Elon Musk didn't. He saw what others refused to see: a goldmine of innovation, ambition, and skill. Now, it's too late for the West. The Philippines has already built its own tech giants. Homegrown brands are dominating industries once controlled by foreign companies. From AI and robotics to space exploration and high-tech manufacturing, Filipino innovators are taking over. The country is no longer just competing, it's winning. So, what happens next? Will the West finally wake up and recognize the unstoppable rise of the Philippines? Or will they continue to underestimate this rising superpower until it's too late? Musk warned them, they didn't listen. And now, the world is changing. What do you think? Is this the beginning of a global power shift? Let us know in the comments.